What's up, everybody? Joelsuf here. Um, as you can tell from the title, it's gonna be a pretty serious video. Um, but it's actually something I've been meaning to say. It's something I've been meaning to do for a while, and I think I have done in the past as well. But this hits a little bit more, a little bit closer to home than other stuff. Um, so, how do you deal with loss? You know, death in the family, death of your buddies. It sucks. There's no way around that shit. And if anyone really disagrees, then either they disliked the person who they lost, or they've just or they're just so nihilistic that they just don't care about anything. And I've been there before, definitely in high school for sure. Yeah. So, how do you deal with loss? Let's first go over the traditional way of dealing with loss, where you have a funeral, and then you spend time reminiscing, and you oftentimes pretend to feel bad and sad when you really just want to get the fuck out of there and move on, right? At least I've had that. I've had that urge in the losses that I've endured. Uh, and we're trained to feel guilty about that. You know what I mean? It's like God forbid you want to just move on with your life like right after. You know what I mean? God forbid you witness or you survive a old person dying who's like old, but by old I mean like 70 plus, and you kind of shrug and say, "Hey man, that's fine. They lived a whole life. It's great." And then you move on. You know what I mean? Like, God forbid you think that. You know what I mean? But tradition has just fucked us up so bad when it comes to that. Okay, so and I think there are definitely alternatives to that. There really are, and they should be explored, especially if you're younger, um, or even if you're younger or older. If you're like my age, like 30s, it kind of you should be more. You should be busy with things like you should be busy with like either your job or or your social life or dating or your hobbies or or whatever your mission is, whatever you want to achieve. You should be more distracted by that to not even worry about dealing with loss, to not even reflect on it, okay? Because that's that's how a productive person acts. They see something bad that happened and that has happened to them, and they go, "All right, well, that sucked. Well, I got shit to do, so I'll have to put that on the back burner." You know what I mean? And guess what? That's not really popular either. You know what I mean? And I'll explore that in a few minutes. Here's how I didn't deal with loss back in the day, back in my mid 20s. I completely ignored it, and I pretended to feel bad, and because I was pretending to feel bad, I wasted a ton of energy, like convincing myself that I had a lot of emotional stake in the losses that I endured, when in fact I really didn't have any. In fact, I was like, you know what? I got shit to do. You know what I mean? I was in my mid 20s, like 25 or so, 24, 25. That's when my dad died. I was 24 years old. And when my grandparents, when his parents died, uh, I was 25. I was also 25 when my mom's father died. You know what I mean? So in the course of 2 years, I survived four deaths. Okay? And the one that I really cared about the most was my mother's father, because he was the first person I played ball with. I remember me and him going bowling when I was 6 years old, and I still have his candlepin bowling balls. So the one who was taken from me, who I felt the most about, I was told to feel the least about, because they didn't do anything for me. You know what I mean? Where and I'll talk about that later on. That's a big can of worms that I don't want to open quite yet. In fact, I'm not even going to open them on this channel at all. Let's just wrap it up by saying my grandfather, my mother's father, meant most to me, more to me than most on my father's side of the family. Okay, all right, and I didn't deal with it. You know what I mean? I ignored it. I didn't seek help when I needed to because it was so much lost at such a quick time and at such a fast pace. I didn't have much of a goal or mission. I just wanted to kind of go to school so I could kind of bowl for my college, and I wasn't even obsessed with that. I was just kind of like, oh well, there's always next year to make the team. I didn't put a time limit on myself. I didn't say, oh, if I don't do it now, then I'm going to next year. There's no, I made lots of excuses and other stuff like that. And I had no focus at all. I really didn't. I had no focus. And when you're distracted that way, that's not a good thing at all. Fast forward to today, or even 2.5 years ago, when one of my buddies killed himself. Even then, I just discovered online dating, and the chick who I was kind of going out with, but kind of not going out with, she didn't want anything to do with me. So I felt like shit for a couple months. I said, well, I'm feeling more like shit than usual. So let me go see somebody. So I saw a therapist, and I saw them continuously. Maybe I shouldn't have done that because I'd already been focused on shit. And I started going out on dates from online dating and stuff like that. I had shit to work on. Okay? And now it's fast forward to now. Okay? How am I doing with this loss in my family, who, by the way, has rendered me without any grandparents at all now? Now I have no living grandparents. At 34 and a half years old, I have no living grandparents. Fucking hey. How am I doing with it now? Well, when my mom texted me about it, I said, okay, well, I'll go to the funeral and shit because they physically did things for me. My mom has been doing lots of things for me in the last 10 years or so when I reconnected with her. My grandmother bought me my first NES, so it bought me my NES. So, that's number one, big right there. And another memory of mine is that I remember coming home from summer camp and I was just really distressed because I was getting picked on and shit. And, she comes by to pick me up. I start, crying my face off. And she, bears me in her arms. She's like, what's wrong, what's wrong? I go, oh, I'm just getting picked on. This sucks, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, well, I'm always going to be here for you. You know what I mean? That would change, but, but, at the time, I liked, at the time, it meant something to me. You know what I mean? So, and it doesn't take a lot to win me over. It really doesn't. It doesn't take a lot to win me over. It takes a lot for me to, for me to not want anything to do with you. But then you can win me back over pretty easily. You know what I mean? That's what happens when you don't have an ego the size of freaking the sun. You know what I mean? Or when you know when to be a narcissist and when not to be. You know what I mean? When you're cognizant of the narcissism. That's why I'll be talking about that much later on. Different video for sure. So, and I remember I would play ball with her too, and I remember I wanted to join a baseball team. So she bought me a brand new baseball bat and stuff like that. And she was invested in me, you know what I mean? Which is great, So I'm going to remember those good times. And the thing that I didn't do that I see a lot on social networking is posting about it on social networking. There's a girl who I know, I've known her for about 15 years, and I've known her husband for about 25 or so. And every time she remembers somebody who passed away, she has to post it on Facebook. And to me, I'm saying to myself, and she's a woman, so women, they communicate with more emotions than than objective logic. You know what I mean? But at the same time, so it's understandable. But at the same time, I said to myself, "Oh my God, you're wasting so much energy doing this, and no one wants to care. No one. This is ruining people's days here. This is like you're saying, oh, I miss this woman, I miss my mother, I miss my whatever." And I'm sitting here going, I don't care. I don't. This isn't. I have enough stress in my life. I don't need to now, out of obligation, go, oh, they're in my prayers, you're in my prayers, you're in my thoughts, whatever. So why even go there? Why even worry about it? Why not just do what you have to do? And you should have enough things in front of you to distract you from the negativity. You know what I mean? And that's how I'm doing with this now. You know what I mean? I did, and I fell through that trap years ago. Like even as short as a couple months ago. You know what I mean? It was like the 50th anniversary of my cat dying, and so I posted a picture. I said, "Oh, I still miss him. He was only 5. He would have been 10 this year." Blah blah blah, and who needs to know that? And why do they need to know that? How come I can't just internalize it and use it to strengthen myself? You know what I mean? Literally use it to strengthen myself, because guess what? When my mom texted me, okay, I woke up, I did what I had to do, I went to work, and then I said, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to bust out and I'm going to fucking kill myself at the gym. And guess what? That's exactly what happened. I went home from work. Usually I'm too lazy to go to the gym right after work because I'm an idiot, or have been an idiot for the last month or so, because it's winter and I just don't like doing shit during the winter. But a couple days ago was different. A couple of days ago it was different. I said, you know what? I'm going to the gym. I'm going to just destroy myself in the gym. And I did. And I was looking forward to it all throughout work. I'm like, I'm going to go to the gym. Oh, it's going to be amazing. It's time to go to the gym right after work. Yes, let's do this. You know what I mean? And guess what? After I go to my grandmother's funeral, and after I, see my mom and do whatever I have to do down there, I'm going to be racing up here saying to myself, all right, what's the next step? What am I going to succeed? What am I going to do to succeed right now? Because who cares what happened? Okay? What happened is over. What happened, you have to remember it, yes, which is nice. It's good. You get the negative feelings out of the way, and then you move on. You move on to the next thing that you want to do. And that's why when people aren't focused and they don't have something to work towards that is usually like a life thing, something they could do for their entire life. For me, that's writing. It's a whole bunch of shit. For me, that's writing. It's weightlifting. It's bowling. It's speed running. I mean, God forbid. I mean, like, look, Zelda 2, the game that I did a speed run of last month. How long has that goddamn game been out? It's been out for 5 years, but yet I'm still doing speedruns of it. You know what I mean? And it's not like to say I haven't done speed. I was just saying I picked it up for speedrunning about a year ago because I'm like, it sounds pretty cool, whatever. It's just another thing for me to work towards, another thing that I like to do, and it's another thing that I can make steady improvements on and be obsessed about. And I don't think people have that. I think people, and that's why I think loss really affects people. It's because they don't have anything to work towards. They just, okay, let's go to work. Let's put in my 8, 9, 10, 12 hours. Let me go home. Let me watch bullshit on Netflix or on YouTube. I do the same. Usually it's speedruns that I watch because guess what? There's other games I want to speedrun other than Zelda 2, and I want to learn about them. You know what I mean? Or wrestling. I watch wrestling just to entertain, you know what I mean? But then they don't do anything else. They go, alright, well, let me just hang out and watch the game and do laundry whenever I have to. You know, everything's routine for them. So when something breaks their routine, they go, oh, I can't deal with this because blah blah blah. You know, oh, what am I gonna do now? I'm so lost without whatever, and they tend to put a lot of emotional stake into other human beings, and that's a tragic flaw. I don't put much emotional stake in others, and a lot of people would say that's selfish. And the reason why I think it isn't is because I know exactly when to place emotional stake in others and when to not do this. You know what I mean? So that makes dealing with loss for me a lot easier because it's just an event. It's literally just an event. Now, the fact that my grandmother was 95 years old after she died, you know, that plays a big part of it too. You know what I mean? I mean, when my homie killed himself, he was 32. He was 32 years old. 31. Doesn't matter. He was way younger than the age where you expect people to die, which is like 70, 75, 80, whatever. You know what I mean? So when he died, I said to myself, holy shit, what the fuck? This guy just died and he's 30 years old. What the hell? That scares the shit out of you. Yes. And that's sad. Obviously, that's sad. Or if your kid dies. Pet is different, you know, if they're really old. But if it's like my cat who died at 5, yeah, you can grieve about that. You know what I mean? But you can't grieve forever, and you can't. You can't use it as a rationalization. You can't be like, well, you know, my whatever died, so now I get to just be depressed for an entire week. You know, that's not a good reason to take a week off of stuff. You're injured, but you think you're injured. You're not actually injured. Okay. Can you take an entire day off? Yes. Am I going to friggin' pound down a whole bunch of junk food on the drive to South Florida and in South Florida when I'm going to my grandmother's funeral? Fuck yeah, because guess what? It's a way for me to de-stress. But guess what? As soon as I come back here, I'm gonna be working on stuff for my channel. I'm gonna be working on my stuff for my blog and my website, which I'm gonna be launching by the weekend. I was gonna launch it on Thursday, but whatever. Now I'm just gonna have to do it during the weekend. Big deal, you know, and other shit like that. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm looking forward to. And you need to look forward to shit. If the worst time that you can lose somebody is if you're in limbo and you're not doing anything. You know what I mean? That's exactly what happened when my dad died. I said, what now? Literally said, what now? I said, okay, well, my dad's dead. Now what? What do I do now? I don't want to be in South Florida. So I moved, but then I did random shit. I didn't have anything to do. So, you know, that's how I'm dealing with loss. And that's how you should deal with loss. You shouldn't take it as serious as society wants you to take it as. Especially if they didn't mean much to you. And especially if they're old and they didn't mean much to you. But yeah, in all other cases, you need to just look at it objectively. And don't be superstitious and be like, what would they do? Because guess what? They're dead. Who gives a flying fuck? Dead people, they can't form opinions. Only living people can. And only certain living people can. So why even worry about what dead people may think of what you're doing? As long as you're not making people who are alive around you mad, who you care about, then where does anyone else get off telling you how you should be doing things? So yeah, I know this ran a little bit long, but that's what I have to say about that. I will catch you all later. Peace.